dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 6 o'clock on this frigid Monday. I'm Will Bucket.
And I'm Cassidy Strickland. Thank you so much for waking up with us on this Monday. Hope everyone had a great weekend and stayed nice and warm, which is exactly what you're going to want to do this morning as well.
Yeah, if you've got like a heated blanket or heated mattress pad, you are lucky this morning because it is cold outside. You're probably going to want to take it with you to work if you're working today. It is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, but it's a cold one, so let's toss it over to Brandon. He's going to give you a breakdown of what you can see today and if there's any warmth in sight outside of your warm coffee or hot chocolate.
Yes, there is just a little bit. Not necessarily today, but I think as we head deeper into the week, but it will not last because winter is here and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Let's take a look at the conditions across the region this morning on the camera network outside WYMT. A little bright over in the distance, the moon kind of shining again after the eclipse last night. Hopefully you got to see that. If you didn't, we'll maybe try to put something up on Facebook here in a little bit. On the Whitesburg camera, you can see the moon there just off to the top of your screen there on the left, shining bright over downtown there. No major issues so far on the main roads, but again, watch out, those secondary roads could still be slippery this morning. Some black ice a possibility, especially anywhere that had water running over the road yesterday, and maybe some snow-covered roads in some of those isolated spots. Here's the current temperatures. Yes, current temperatures, not wind chill, nothing like that. Single digits for most of the region. We're still hanging tough there at 10 in London and Somerset, 11 in Middlesboro, and 12 in Jacksboro. You factor in these wind chills. Wise finally back above 0, but Monticello down to 6 below. So again, frigid this morning. Be careful of that wind chill advisory until 10 a.m. for Lee and Wise counties over in southwest Virginia. Satellite and radar pretty quiet over the last few hours. Just a few clouds around, maybe a little bit of flakes overnight. So lots of coffee today if you got to get outside going to work, or some kids got to go to a school, or maybe even some college kids going to class today. So make sure you grab a lot of coffee this morning because you'll need it to stay warm. Out the door forecast, we are going to see temperatures climb into the mid-20s, but after a cold start at 8 degrees, I think it's going to take a while to get there later on today. I have the full forecast coming up here in just a few minutes.
All righty, Brandon, we'll check back in with you. Well, this weekend, crews with the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet District 12 worked to plow and salt the roads.
With temperatures dipping well below freezing overnight, crews had to decide what their next step would be to keep the roads safe.
WYMT's Marianne Fletcher caught up with one busy worker to learn more.
At 2 a.m. Sunday morning, Kentucky Transportation Cabinet employees began working.
Got crews on the road and started treating.
Vincent Hayes is the Pikeville section engineer for the Transportation Cabinet.
Salt's working right now, but if it gets much colder, like tonight, calcium chloride will have to be applied.
Hayes says salt stops working below 20 degrees.
We're going to treat roads until they're completely clean and good to go.
He tells me during this time of the year, they not only deal with snow, but rock and mudslides as well.
This doesn't do anything but hurt that. The freeze thaw works those slides down, the existing slides that we've cleaned up, and there's still more above, works that down.
And right now, their trucks are divided between slides and snow.
We're limited for trucks, and we've got plows and salt equipment on some, and we've got to take it off and deal with those slides at the same time and then put it back on for this.
Hayes says use caution if you need to leave your home.
I wouldn't get out unless you had to. I'm sure a lot of churches have canceled. Just take caution if you have to get out.
Working to keep the region safe. In Pike County, Marianne Fletcher, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, road crews and emergency officials say you should always keep an emergency kit in your car in case you get stranded. It should include things like a flashlight, a blanket, and phone charger. If you would like to keep up with the latest closings during the winter weather, look down at the bottom of your screen or head on over to our website over at WYMT.com.
Several power outages were reported yesterday, but at this time, most power has been restored in our area. If you need to check the status of an outage, just head on over to WYMT.com. We have links that will alert you to the outages in your area.
Well, heavy rain caused issues on some roads yesterday. Several rock and mudslides were reported across the region. One was on Cow Creek Road in Floyd County. In a Facebook post, an official said the road was closed. However, this morning, one lane is back open.
Well, as winter weather pounded the East Coast as well, a utility lineman was killed in Middletown, Connecticut while working to restore power. A tree fell on the Eversource subcontractor, causing fatal injuries. The victim's identity has not yet been released. Police are investigating the incident further. Meanwhile, in Missouri, snow and wind made it extremely difficult for crews to clear a crash involving 15 cars. It happened on I-55 southbound. Thankfully, there were only minor injuries with the crash. The windy conditions made it almost impossible to see right in front of you. Even longtime Missouri residents were surprised by the conditions and wondered if they would make it to their destination safely.
The last time I experienced this was like maybe 10 years ago. Yeah, it's very scary. I'm like, are we gonna crash or what?
It took crews more than 4 hours to get the crash cleaned up. As of Sunday afternoon, Missouri State Troopers said they had responded to nearly 200 crashes.
Chilean officials say a magnitude 6.7 earthquake killed at least 2 people and left thousands without electricity in the country's north. The National Emergency Service said 2 people suffered heart attacks due to the quake, which was also felt as far to the south in Santiago, the capital. About 20,000 people remain without power in northern Chile. A magnitude 8.3 quake hit the same region in 2015, killing more than a dozen people.
Well, back in eastern Kentucky this morning, firefighters endured cold temperatures while battling a church fire in Lee County. The fire destroyed the building, so services had to be canceled yesterday. Matthew Rand has the latest.
Services were canceled this morning at Zoe Church of Christ after a fire swept through their worship hall. You might think a loss like this would be cause for despair, but the church's preacher, Matthew Dixon, is taking it in stride.
It's just life. You know, it's part of life. There's pests of all sorts and a lot of mountains to climb, but there's always a top to every mountain. So
firefighters were called to the scene around 3 a.m. and by the time they got there, the church was totally engulfed in flames.
Firefighters tell us they had to use chains on their tires to get their trucks up the snow-covered hill to the church once they got there, battling not only the flames but the intense early morning cold.
Our hoses were freezing, the nozzles were freezing. Of course, we had to do water shuttle with the tankers. And there were some instances my hand would freeze to the handle on the truck.
Dixon says the church was built a little more than 20 years ago and started out with just 8 members.
We've grown quite a bit. We have a great group of people. This has got us knocked down a little. You know, we're down, but we're certainly not out.
The cause of the fire has not been determined, but firefighters don't think it's suspicious, and they're warning about the added fire risk whenever temperatures crash like they did last night.
Everybody's probably kicking their heaters on now, and especially if you got wood burners, you got to watch the flue fires, but you just got to be aware and make sure you got your smoke detectors working.
The church's preacher grateful to the first responders who spent hours in the cold trying to save their building, and also that no one was hurt.
The people are the church. This is a building. And this can be replaced. The church are the people, and we're together and we're in unity one with another and love one another, and that's how you overcome things like this.
Reporting in Lee County, Matthew Rand, WKYT.
The preacher tells us that thankfully the building was insured. Church members are just now trying to figure out where they can meet until their building is rebuilt.
Well, local tattoo artists celebrate the grand opening of their new shop in Hazard, Lost Gypsy Tattoo. Not long ago, we shared a story with you about Draven Scott Gayhart, who helped some people turn their scars into art by turning them into tattoos. These artists believe they should use their abilities for good and want the community to know as a tattoo shop they hope to use their talent to tackle even larger issues in the future. Gayhart says they are now in contact with the Eastern Kentucky Human Trafficking Task Force.
They have survivors that have received scars from physical abuse or have received tattoos showing ownership from their captors. And we are looking to help those people out by bringing them in so we can do those cover-ups.
Southern Gypsies, Thatcher's Downtown, Appalachian Apparel, and the Vault 606 in Jackson contributed to the celebration yesterday. Lost Gypsy Tattoo is located in downtown Hazard on Main Street, right next to the Hazard Fire Department.
Well, this morning, a death investigation is underway in Laurel County. Deputies say a woman was found dead in her driveway. 72-year-old Glenda Smith was found just outside of her vehicle off of Fisherman Island Road. An autopsy is scheduled to take place in Frankfort. We do not yet know the cause of her death. And we now know the name of a woman found dead Saturday. Boyd County Coroner Mark Hammond says the victim is 29-year-old Erica Spradlin. Her body was found in a front yard on Marcia Street. Police say they believe she may have been murdered. Police Chief Todd Kelly says the woman's body had been assaulted. We will continue to update the story as we learn more.
Well, over to Laurel County this morning, deputies need your help finding whoever is responsible for a string of vandalism. They say someone or multiple people are responsible for shooting a BB or paintball gun at homes and cars. It happened both Friday and Saturday night. Deputies say the targeted areas were Keevee Road, Keevee Craig's Creek Road, Highway 312, Level Green Road, and Paris Carr Road. If you have any information at all, please give police a call.
Well, coming up on Mountain News this morning, a new study suggests that children experience the side effects of a concussion longer than adults. We will tell you more.
And later in sports, the Super Bowl matchup is set. See how yesterday's conference championships unfolded straight ahead.
Slick spots and bitter cold will greet you if you have to be out early. I'll tell you when we can get a little bit more warmth in about 2 minutes.